Nestled in the hills of northern Israel, Magar is a town where Druze, Muslims, and Christians have coexisted for generations. With a population of approximately 22,000, the town is home to around 60% Druze, 20% Muslims, and 20% Christians. The Druze, a close-knit and historically significant community, has around 150,000 people living in Israel. Beyond its borders, approximately 750,000 Druze live in Syria, facing ongoing turmoil, while Lebanon is home to nearly 200,000, many of whom have played pivotal roles in the region's history. The Druze in Israel have carved out a unique identity, serving in the army, holding key positions in the state, and preserving their traditions amid the complexities of the Middle East.
From the time of Israel's establishment, the Druze have been part of the country. We serve and contribute at every level in the government, including the army. The Druze have served in the army since the establishment of the state. They serve and take a very active and central role in security affairs and also in civil affairs. Regarding our identity, first of all, we are Druze, despite some inner differences tied to each community's geographical location and the way we perceive ourselves personally. In our case, we are Druze, Arab by culture, and Israeli by nationality. In terms of religion, we follow the Druze beliefs, but on a societal level, we are connected to both Arabs and Israelis, and the core of our community is to spread always peace. Druze are not interested in their own state, but are simply connected to the place they belong to, and are willing to protect it at any cost. This is why, for us, serving in the Israeli military is not just an obligation, it is a commitment to the land we live in. Our community has always built bridges, not walls. The community in the Galilee recognizes itself as Israeli Druze, but Druze living in the Golan or other areas in the region feel differently compared to us. I've seen firsthand the reality of war over these past months by fighting in Gaza. As Druze, we feel the conflict from both sides, since we speak Arabic and are connected to the Arab side, and are also citizens of this country and sympathize with the Jews. I chose on my own to pursue the good, and what I thought was not evil. As Druze in Israel, we do not need anyone to tell us what is good or wrong. We are capable to evaluate that on our own. October 7th changed everything. It shattered illusions about security and stability. As Druze, we have been here and saw everything that happened from the beginning of this conflict with our own eyes. Despite the wars, people here want peace. I fight because I want to grant peace in this land one day. I fight on the good side. I chose this side.
The idea of a Druze state has resurfaced in light of growing instability in Syria. While some dream of a unified Druze homeland, leaders from within the community remain skeptical. For them, survival has always been about integration rather than separation.
I don't think there will be a Druze state. I think that the Druze in Syria should stick to their country if the country protects them. If the country does otherwise, they need to take control of the situation and protect themselves. They cannot be abandoned. The Druze stick to each country they live in, as I mentioned already, and each identity is shaped by this. Despite this, belonging to the Druze community transcends borders. In Syria, Lebanon, and Israel, we consider ourselves as the same people religious-wise, and many keep connections with one another. In general, it is tricky in this historical moment to speak in the name of everyone, because as Druze we differ also politically and geographically, so I prefer not to speak on behalf of others, aside from myself. As Druze, we will never be against each other. The Druze in Syria are Syrians in every way. No one can deny it. Historically, the ones who liberated Syria are the Druze, Sultan Pasha al-Atrash. In 1925, exactly 100 years ago, this coming July 1st, it is exactly 100 years since the beginning of the Druze uprising against the French in Syria. Druze have always been part of Syria, but today it is all changed, despite the country's historical, diverse composition of ethnicities and people. There is today a fundamentalist power in control in an unstable situation. Alawites, Christians, and Druze, for this reason, need to protect themselves, and we are here in Israel to protect them as well.
The massacre of Alawites in Syria was a turning point. Druze communities, fearing similar threats, have begun arming themselves. Israel, with its historic ties to the Druze, faces questions about its role in the crisis. While some Druze in Syria have sought Israel's help, others have refused it, wary of outside intervention and the political ramifications. Reports indicate that Israel has offered weapons and support to the Druze in Syria, but not all within the community have accepted this aid, highlighting internal divisions and fears of regional backlash. Can Israel remain on the sidelines?
I don't think a Druze state is the answer. I don't think the Druze should be separated from the rest of Syria. I truly hope that Syria will be stable in the long term, but it seems far away. As of now, we must monitor the condition of the Druze there, and Israel needs to support them if required. They are capable of defending themselves as fighters, but as Druze Israelis, we need to give a hand and assist them in everything they may need. Syria is in a very dangerous situation. After the fall of Bashar Assad, it is not clear where this new power is heading. We saw the murders of the Alawites happening in Latakia and Tartus, images that are horrendous with bodies on the streets. We are truly hoping that we don't see this against the Druze there. We want everyone to live peacefully in Syria, Druze, Alawites, and Christians alike, all minorities. The Christians are in danger because they live in mixed cities such as Hama and could face more challenges in defending themselves compared to the Druze that live close to the mountains and just within their communities. Hopefully, we won't reach any tragic scenario.
From Magar, northern Israel, Giorgia Valente reporting for the Media Line.